Саламатсыздар урматтуу телекөрүүчүлөр, бүгүнкү биздин атайынкы чыгарылышыбызга биздин сыйлуу конокторубуз менен сиздерди тааныштырып өтөлү. Биздин маегибизде конокто Америка Кошмо Штаттарынын Кыргызстандагы атайын жана ыйгарым укуктуу элчиси Памела Спратлен майым, жана дагы Америка Кошмо Штаттарынын мамлекеттик катчысынын жардамчысынын орун басары Карен Ханрахан айым бизде конокто студияда. So welcome to Osh, welcome to the studio of ElTR. My first question is, what's your main purpose of visiting Kyrgyzstan? Maybe I will begin from you.
Certainly. Well, first, I'm very happy to be here on my first trip to Kyrgyzstan, a country that's made great strides in its progress in democracy and human rights. As you know, I work for the U.S. Department of State, and I come from the bureau that covers democracy and human rights. We in Washington and here at the embassy have been talking a lot lately about our partnership with Kyrgyzstan and our broader strategy in Central Asia. So in informing those conversations, it's important that we come here to places like Osh, to Bishkek, to inform those discussions. So the purpose of our trip is to have conversations with government officials, civil society organizations, religious leaders, and others to learn more about progress on human rights and democracy here in Kyrgyzstan. We're looking forward to having a healthy exchange of views on issues of human rights, national reconciliation, rule of law, and other related issues.
So my next question is, as you said, your work, you specialize in human rights, rule of law, and your own viewpoint about Kyrgyzstan and Central Asia.
Kyrgyzstan has made great progress and many achievements, particularly since 2010. I think this is a tribute to the Kyrgyzstan people. You can see it in the vibrant civil society and the people of Kyrgyzstan. I think it's important, in order to maintain these achievements, it's important that the government and people of Kyrgyzstan continue to work hard and diligently on building democratic progress. Some of the challenges I think we're interested in hearing more about include the issues of national reconciliation. We know that where roots of conflict are not addressed directly, sometimes they fester and result in more violence and more conflict. We're interested in issues of democratic governance. One of the concerns that we've heard about in Washington is some new legislation that relates to the libel law, a foreign agents law, and an LGBT law. All of these laws, particularly when combined, we're concerned it might jeopardize the great progress that Kyrgyzstan has made in democracy over the years. In particular, the foreign agents law could jeopardize the work that civil society organizations do in this country. They contribute to the economy, they contribute to social development, they contribute to political development. They're one of the aspects of Kyrgyzstan that sets Kyrgyzstan apart in the region. And so this law concerns us, and it's in draft form right now. So those are some of the issues that we'll be discussing with officials and others, learning more about, and hoping to find a positive way forward.
The USA administration says that Kyrgyzstan is more developed in comparison with other countries. I mean, democracy regime, but at the same time, in spite of this saying, some organizations, human rights organizations, not agree with these sayings. And the democracy is itself a long process, we know. And should they wait the generation changing?
So I think we just, the state of human rights here, we're just learning about. I personally am just learning about it. As I said, it's my first trip. We've spoken to, so far, a number of people who live and work in Kyrgyzstan who do work advocating for human rights and democracy. We've heard both positive news about reforms made in the area of rule of law, law enforcement, democracy building, protection of rights, incorporation of international treaties into domestic law. At the same time, we've also heard about some challenges and that there's more work to be done on the human rights front. Protection of minorities is one of those. Additional work needed in the realm of rule of law, torture, and other areas. So like many countries, I think Kyrgyzstan is experiencing the growing pains of building a democracy. As we in the United States have learned over time, it takes time and it takes hard work to build a democracy and to build a system that truly protects the rights of all citizens, including even those citizens that the majority of people may not feel comfortable with. So, for example, LGBT individuals, which is also an issue here that we're speaking to people about.
Also, you have worked in Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, so exactly in human rights sphere. And so my question is, are they going the democracy process and are you satisfied with the pace of development?
Well, every country, all of those countries you mentioned are a little bit different. I think with Afghanistan, we just witnessed a very successful election. We congratulate the Afghan people for carrying out a successful election this April. Millions of Afghan men and women went to the polls to select their next president. We will continue to partner with the new government and the people of Afghanistan to build on those elections and to continue the process of democracy building. I think also in Pakistan we've witnessed last year another successful transition of power, successful election. We also encourage the country of Pakistan to continue to build on that progress. So every country is a little bit different. And we tailor our policies and our assistance to support different countries in different ways.
Thank you. So my next question is for you, Mrs. Spratlen. So withdrawal of USA troop from Afghanistan has begun, you know, and it seems to me that they established a legitimate authority. I mean. And at the same time, the withdrawal of USA troops from Afghanistan, after withdrawal, there is just a risk of terrorism threat in the region. Any trouble for it?
Well, thank you very much for your question on Afghanistan, Ныяз. I don't know if you saw the news yesterday, but we did complete operations at the transit center at Manas International Airport on the 3rd of June. With respect to the drawdown in Afghanistan, I would just like to clarify that President Obama has said that the combat mission of the United States will be over as of the end of December 2014. But that doesn't mean that our commitment to Afghanistan will end. He said that we, depending on decisions that the Afghans make about the authority of our forces to remain in the country through a bilateral security agreement, if we're able to reach that agreement with Afghanistan, the United States is prepared to leave 9,800 troops. But we want to clarify that that mission is limited to training and assisting, because it's very important for us to assist the Afghan National Army in becoming stronger and more able to defend Afghanistan and to protect its people. In addition, the United States has made an economic commitment to Afghanistan. So we see our commitment as one that is enduring. But you are correct that with respect to our troops, our posture is going to be changing. And I would like to just underscore that those 9,800 troops would be the U.S. troops. We don't yet know what the commitment of some of our allies and partners will be in NATO and the coalition. So that could expand the the number of foreign troops, but this really depends on the Afghan people. With respect, or the Afghan authorities. With respect to the issue of terrorism, of course, the threat of terrorism has been a global one for many years now. And in fact, we were able to establish the transit center in the Kyrgyz Republic in 2001 because of the terrorist attacks in New York on 9/11. So the globe, the entire world, has been fighting terrorism for many years, and President Obama has spoken out on the need many times for the entire world to be working together to try to fight the scourge of terrorism. Our primary goal in leaving any kind of troops there is to be sure that Al-Qaeda cannot become a safe haven, that Afghanistan cannot become a safe haven for Al-Qaeda, either in Afghanistan or anywhere else. Of course, because of the brutality of terrorist organizations, there are risks, including to the Kyrgyz Republic. But I think that's why we want to leave a residual force there to assist the Afghan people. And we also hope to continue our security cooperation with the government of the Kyrgyz Republic and other countries to help strengthen their ability to fight terrorism in the broader region.
So there is different opinion about America, you know. So some of them considers America as a just and a neutral supporter of just and a neutral, and the others describe America as a supporter of both standards. So my question is, if the country, exact country, is not supporter of democracy regime, but you have the same interest with that country, just I just support that country, even that country is not support of democracy regime.
Well, that question is a bit hypothetical, and I would just say for myself, and then Deputy Assistant Secretary Hanrahan may want to add, because this is really her portfolio. But I would say with respect to the Kyrgyz Republic, the United States has been here for 23 years, the entire time of the country's independence, to try to support the development of the Kyrgyz Republic in many areas, and democracy especially. Since 2010, when there was a change in government and a change in the constitution, we have intensified our efforts to try to strengthen the democracy in the Kyrgyz Republic. And I'm very proud of all of the efforts that the United States has made to help in many, many different spheres. We help support by giving expertise to members of civil society. This morning I had the chance to attend a press conference on health statistics that is helping the local authorities and national authorities improve the ability of the government to provide services to citizens and counteract problems like domestic violence or hunger for children. Those are efforts that the United States is undertaking to make the Kyrgyz Republic a stronger democracy, a stronger country, and we're very proud of our partnership in that area. And I would say that the United States is engaged in many similar efforts around the globe. Democracy is a basic value of the United States, and we are proud of our efforts to help other countries that share that value strengthen their governance, strengthen their civil society, and make improvements in the lives of their citizens.
Thank you. Maybe you will add something.
Sure. Just I would just add that the world is a complex place with a wide array of actors. Democracy promotion and the promotion of human rights is a core tenet of this administration and President Obama's foreign policy. We feel that engaging with countries is the best way to influence them. So as our ambassador mentioned, we engage with countries across the world, whether they are new democracies, not democracies, fully developed democracies. We have different ways of engaging with these countries, but we engage because we believe that's how to influence. So where there are countries that are less democratic or not democratic at all, we spend a great deal of time trying to influence them in this area. We raise issues directly with them on a bilateral basis. Sometimes we do it very privately. Sometimes we do it publicly. We raise issues in multilateral fora, such as the United Nations and the OSCE. And overall, we believe that engagement is our primary tool of influencing.
Thank you. My next question is also for you. That's now the theme of Ukraine, you know, one of the actual and important one. So what's your own opinion about the situation in Ukraine?
Well, what I would say is that the United States is full of admiration for the Ukrainian people and the efforts that they are undertaking with their new leadership and new president, Poroshenko, to try to develop a sovereign, unified country with territorial integrity. We're greatly disturbed by the efforts of the Russian Federation to allegedly or attempt to annex Crimea. And of course, we are working diligently with our partners in Europe and through the OSCE and of course with the Ukrainian authorities directly to try to help bring peace and stability to that beautiful and historic country that is trying so hard to create a democracy for itself and for its people. So this is a very, very important question, not only for the Ukrainians, but I think for people all over the world. These questions of territorial integrity, of sovereignty, of independence, and of unity affect many countries. And of course, we're working very hard to try to preserve all of those for Ukraine.
What do you think? Just will they remain as a united country as before?
Well, you know, it's certainly the belief of the United States that the Ukrainians deserve to have a united country. We, as I said, reject the idea of the alleged annexation of Crimea, and we think it's extremely important for Ukrainians to be the ones who decide the future of their country. And as I said, working through organizations like the OSCE and working directly with the Ukrainian authorities, we're working very hard to bring peace. But of course, all of this also depends on the Russian Federation, which is an extremely important country in all of this. And the President has called on the Russian authorities many, many times to pull back militarily and to disengage and de-escalate the situation and to join the rest of the international community in helping the Ukrainians find a positive and peaceful solution, a democratic solution to the future of the country, and for Ukraine itself, for the broader region, and for the international system, which depends on all members of the United Nations and especially the Security Council to fulfill their roles to preserve the international system.
So, if there is a demand of selection in front of Ukraine, I mean, exactly in eastern part of the country, would you take into account the right of eastern part?
Well, Ныяз, you know, that's a hypothetical question, and I think what's important is what I said before. The United States is deeply engaged in the effort and deeply committed to the principles of unity, of democracy, of territorial integrity and independence for the new president of Ukraine and for the citizens of Ukraine. And we believe it's important for all Ukrainians to be together and deciding that.
In spite of the right of eastern parts?
What I'm saying is we see Ukraine as a united country. And we know that's how Ukrainians want to see their country, and the United States is working every day to help Ukraine, as I said, find a way to a peaceful resolution of its challenges so that it can develop its people and develop its economy as a unified, democratic state with unity and territorial integrity.
Thank you. So my next question is for you. Just let's talk about Kyrgyzstan, about our country.
Certainly.
So yes. Actually, now the civil society has established it, you know, and we have freedom speech, freedom of mass media. But in spite of this, so under the slogan of human rights, democracy, there is a sort of hooliganism as attacking on institutions and just closing roads. And just do USA government know about such kind of problems in our country?
Mm-hmm. We do. We've been following issues in Kyrgyzstan very closely for a long time, and this is, I think, the issue that you're really referring to is the challenge of many new democracies, which is finding the balance between rights and responsibilities. A government that needs to find the balance between openness and protection of its people. And I think it's always, in a new democracy, it takes time for people to learn both about their rights to vote, to exercise other kinds of rights, as well as their responsibilities, which is to be law-abiding citizens that do not use violence against others. I think also it's the responsibility of all new democratic governments to to struggle with that balance between openness, freedom of expression, allowing people, even with dissenting views, to exercise that right to express their views, to gather in protest, in nonviolent protest. Balancing that with situations where people might gather or engage in hooliganism in a manner that harms other citizens, harms the rights of other citizens and the safety. We struggle with it in the United States. We have had decades of working on these issues, and hope that in the United States that freedom of expression, freedom of its assembly, and other core rights are able to rise, while at the same time we protect our citizens.
Our country kept USA military base 13 years, and there is different gossips, opinions, speculation about this theme, and the question is why USA government doesn't implement economic projects?
Well, I would like to first just broaden it a little bit and say that the United States is very proud of our international development. We have a group that will be arriving soon from our U.S. Department of Commerce to work on commercial law development. This is an area in which we are working actively to support the Kyrgyz Republic to improve its business climate, not only for its own entrepreneurs, but also for entrepreneurs from many other countries, we hope, including the United States. But as I said, I think as long as there is the overlay of this large foreign direct investment that struggles to find a way forward peacefully and profitably and legally with the government, then I think it will be very difficult for other businesses, as I said, to see the Kyrgyz Republic as friendly to foreign direct investment and a place to come. But we hope that will happen in the future.
And what do you think about relations between Kyrgyzstan and the USA?
Well, since I am the U.S. ambassador here, you might imagine that I'm extremely positive about the relationship between the Kyrgyz Republic and the United States of America. I feel very fortunate here. I've just come through my 3rd anniversary of being fortunate to be here in the Kyrgyz Republic as the U.S. ambassador, and I think that the prospects for our bilateral relationship are very bright. And I think the biggest symbol that shows that we believe in this country and its future is the fact that we are building a new embassy now, and that embassy will meet the security standards that we are now using all around the globe, and I think it will be an excellent symbol of the fact that we want a broad relationship with the Kyrgyz Republic as a democratic, peaceful, and prosperous partner.
So thank you for your coming. Thank you for your answer. It was very interesting talk between us, and I hope that Kyrgyzstan will develop with the help of your help. Thank you.
Эскерте кетсек, кымбаттуу телекөрүүчүлөр, бүгүн бизде конокто атайын маекте Америка Кошмо Штаттарынын Кыргызстандагы атайын жана ыйгарым укуктуу элчиси Памела Спратлен айым жана Америка Кошмо Штаттарынын мамлекеттик катчысынын жардамчысынын орун басары Карен Ханрахан айым болду. Ыраазычылык билдирүүтү маегибизди аяктайбыз. Амандыкта болуңуздар.
International development. We have a group that will be arriving soon from our U.S. Department of Commerce to work on commercial law development. This is an area in which we are working actively to support the Kyrgyz Republic to improve its business climate, not only for its own entrepreneurs, but also for entrepreneurs from many other countries, we hope, including the United States. But as I said, I think as long as there is the overlay of this large foreign direct investment that struggles to find a way forward peacefully and profitably and legally with the government, then I think it will be very difficult for other businesses, as I said, to see the Kyrgyz Republic as friendly to foreign direct investment and a place to come. But we hope that will happen in the future.
And what do you think about relations between Kyrgyzstan and the USA?
Well, since I am the U.S. ambassador here, you might imagine that I'm extremely positive about the relationship between the Kyrgyz Republic and the United States of America. I feel very fortunate here. I've just come through my third anniversary of being fortunate to be here in the Kyrgyz Republic as the U.S. ambassador. And I think that the prospects for our bilateral relationship are very bright. And I think the biggest symbol that shows that we believe in this country and its future is the fact that we are building a new embassy now. And that embassy will meet the security standards that we are now using all around the globe. And I think it will be an excellent symbol of the fact that we want a broad relationship with the Kyrgyz Republic as a democratic, peaceful, and prosperous partner.
So thank you for your coming. Thank you for your answer. It was very interesting talk between us, and I hope that Kyrgyzstan will develop with the help of your help. Thank you.
Эскерте кетсек, кымбаттуу телекөрүүчүлөр, бүгүн бизде конокто атайын маекте Америка Кошмо Штаттарынын Кыргызстандагы атайын жана ыйгарым укуктуу элчиси Памела Спратлен айым жана Америка Кошмо Штаттарынын мамлекеттик катчысынын жардамчысынын орун басары Карен Ханрахан айым болду. Ыраазычылык билдирүүтү маегибизди аяктайбыз. Амандыкта болуңуз.